Hi. Today I would like to talk a little bit about healing, the healing journey. So I have been through most of the road of the wounded warrior, the person who has maybe faced some trauma and some stuff and goes through a self-healing process, and a process that also involves other kinds of healers, and really gets to a place where we get to know ourselves, and then we want to help others. And then maybe we want to embody some kind of healing modality ourselves as time goes on. So I was talking to somebody that I mentor about this last night. We're having a great conversation. And I was talking about, first, you have to heal. So first, you must heal yourself. First, you must realize that you need healing to begin with. And then seek it out, right? Everybody's journey is so different. And there's so many different belief systems and structures and healing modalities, and there's physical healing and emotional healing and spiritual healing, and there's just it's just really a really beautiful buffet of life experiences that we're invited to engage in. And trauma is an activation to engage in more of life than we really want to. There's a couple different kinds of trauma. There's developmental trauma, where maybe you were neglected, or you didn't have your emotional needs met, you didn't have your physical needs met. Maybe you were in a chaotic life, a chaotic household, and you never really felt safe, and so you kind of never really let your guard down. Developmental trauma can lead to all kinds of limiting self-beliefs about ourselves, or make us push people away. There's all kinds of developmental trauma issues, where we just don't trust, we don't feel safe in life, we don't trust life, we don't trust those around us, maybe we don't trust ourselves. And then there's shock trauma, the kind of thing that happens maybe when you're not a child, the kind of thing where maybe you lose a loved one in an accident, or you get in an accident yourself, or you have a cancer diagnosis. Something in your life shocks you out of feeling safe. Where developmental trauma, you never really felt safe for whatever reason, your needs weren't met for whatever reason. Shock trauma can shock you out of any feeling of safety that you have. Anyways, any of these experiences, and we've all been through a bunch of them, there's different levels of trauma. Some trauma will separate us from a feeling of wholeness in ourselves. And that's what I want to talk about today. The recognition that you don't feel whole, that there's some kind of divide between what you believe your life to be and what your life actually is, or what you believe yourself to be and what you actually are. So the first stage is to heal, obviously, to heal from whatever it was that broke you, to start to mend this gap and bring a sense of healing back into your life, where you can reconcile your beliefs about the reality of what happened to you. Then wholeness is the second one. So healing, the initial healing, is the first stage. Wholeness is the second stage. To recognize that you do feel healed, that you do feel whole, that there is a difference between this version of you and this version of you. To live into the gratitude that you have for the healing that you went through, for the effort that you put in, for the people that have helped you, for your own capacity to view life in a different way, whatever it is. But there's a gratitude that comes from the wholeness of mending that brokenness, right? You can understand, you following along with me so far? Then the next stage is the gratitude and understanding how far you've come and how it's affected your life. And now you let your guard down and you trust others and you let others in, whatever it is. You want to help other people in that way. You recognize when other people have this fracture, when other people are broken or they need healing. You can see it in them sometimes because you resonate with that part of yourself that will never really go away. Even though you feel whole now, you remember what it was like to feel broken. You remember the ways that you beat yourself up or push people away, or you were afraid to take chances, or Maybe you lashed out at people without recognizing it because your own pain was so hard for you to take because you just didn't know how to get from here to here. You just didn't know how to get there. And the world's a scary place, right? Sometimes. And people are real shit some days. People will, we've all been there. People can be real shits, people can say things to you that make this even further. And sometimes people say things to you that want to meld it together, but you take it the wrong way because you just don't know how to get there. But when you're on the other side of the wholeness, you really want to help people. Whether or not they take you the wrong way doesn't matter. You want to help people. You become a helper. You become a helper. You start to say to people, hey, I noticed that in your words that you said this, that you feel that way. And I think I understand, like, I don't know what you've been through, but I kind of understand that, I just wanted to let you know it can be better. Have you thought about counseling? Have you thought about Reiki? Have you thought about this, whatever it was that helped you go from here to here? And you want to help others because you know that good vibes only is a trap that stops you from sorting through the bad vibes, that makes you ignore and suppress the side of yourself that feels pain and sadness. And you know that the only way to get to a place of good vibes is to mend that brokenness, to face your sadness, to cry your tears, to express your anger, whatever it is for you. It's different. It's different for all of us. I just want to outline the overall thing to encourage you to have hope that no matter where you are, it can be better. And life will never be perfect. And when it is, sometimes you just find things to be shitty about anyways, because we see a lot of people doing that, people who have everything they could ever want and they just don't appreciate it. And, I had that in 15 years ago, say. I'm like, I worked for everything I ever wanted and I just didn't know how to appreciate it. Trauma was one of the reasons because I think I just kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? I just had some healing that I needed to do to really be able to appreciate what I had in my life. Anyways, so you want to help others. You get to a place where you really just want to help people. You know what it's like to go through that darkness and how much better you feel now that you have that wholeness. And you want to let people know that they're not alone. Other people have been there, and you want to help them see that there could be a better way. And when you find yourself having these conversations and you find yourself giving advice to these people or trying to help them see more of what's available to them, you start to see the ways that you could maybe become a healer, the ways that maybe you resonate with the idea of being a healer, right? And maybe if Reiki was a big help for you, then maybe you want to become attuned for Reiki. If counseling helped you see a different way of being, then maybe you want to become a counselor. That happened for me. Mark England helped me see where I was holding myself back, where my beliefs were. I was telling myself that I was a victim, that life was out to get me, and that no matter how hard I tried, I was never going to be good enough. And he changed in one conversation, shifted the way that I related to that story and freed me from the story itself. And I was like, I believe in that because I know how much it helped me. And now I am one of the coaches in his program. So, for example, that's one of the ways that I went through this. And now I want to help other people change the way they view themselves. And that's why I'm having this conversation with you today. Whoever you are, whenever you see this, whatever it is that brings this message to you is meant to be with you clearly, or you wouldn't be listening to me talk to you about it. And so whatever it was that helped you, maybe you want to deepen your understanding and your relationship to that and help other people heal that way. So the journey is healing yourself, to finding the wholeness that comes from the healing, to helping others want to take that journey to go through the healing process and come out on the other side into the low vibes, into the bad vibes, so that they can actually experience the good vibes without the belief that they're not good enough, to maybe becoming qualified, certified and qualified in a healing modality that you believe in, that you know will help others. So from healing to wholeness to helper to healer. And if this is something that you resonate with, just know that you're not alone. And if you start opening yourself up to this journey, my ask for you is that you find people who support it, maybe strangers in grocery stores, and that the people who try to hinder you from taking that journey, that maybe they just shut up and focus on their own journey. Now, for me, tattooing is the way that I get to the people who need me. And as I've gone through this last couple years, I've gone through another healing journey. I thought that maybe we only had one in our lives, but I have learned that sometimes we can have multiple, or maybe I didn't really get the power from the lesson the first time. But I went through, COVID really put me into another healing journey where I had to change the way that I relate to the love of my life, which is tattooing. So if you're a tattoo artist, just stick around for another minute or two here. I promise I'll make this quick. And this part of it for me is really helping other tattoo artists recognize that if this is their journey to go through a process and use their tattoo work as a way to help others, because tattooing doesn't heal people, as we know, but it can be a huge helper on their journey to healing, because we can only really heal ourselves when we face those parts of ourselves that are unhealed. And it's scary to face those things. It's scary. We were taught and conditioned to suppress and repress and ignore and reject the parts of ourselves that aren't perfect. And then we think that we can find a part of ourselves that is perfect if we just ignore the parts of ourselves that we don't like. And I'm here to tell you that's just not possible. So the parts of ourselves that we don't like must be integrated. And that's where we find our perfection. And so if you tattoo people and you find yourself the kind of energy, you bring forth the kind of energy where maybe you're already a helper and people recognize and resonate with that energy in you. So you hear a lot of them talking about their problems. And at the end of the day, you might feel like drained and like maybe a little bit burdened by those people talking about their problems. But the thing is they're asking you to help them with them, or they wouldn't be saying it to you. They wouldn't feel safe with you. You know, a lot of tattooists just stay at surface level. They never get to hear that kind of stuff. They talk about politics or religion or the weather or whatever local events or whatever, and they don't have that depth to the relationship with their client that some of us can avoid if we try, which is my favorite part of the work. But like I said, COVID really put me into a different level of healing where I've kind of avoided a little bit of getting too intimate with my clients, because I didn't want them to feel the brokenness that I was still carrying as I go through this last kind of part of my making sense of what it meant to me. And the strength, the healer part of it, like I was saying, is now I understand that I have to speak to tattoo artists on a broader scale about this particular thing. Those of you, the few of you that are out there who resonate with this message. And that's why I started this little like paramedical tattoo podcast, because I know that a lot of us that do paramedical tattooing, when you're working on a trauma site, there's a really good chance that you're going to activate that trauma and show that person the parts of themselves that maybe they were a little bit too afraid to face on their own. And maybe you get to be one of the people who helps them understand that it's okay to feel sad or angry about their journey. It's okay for them to feel dejected if their husband left them, or something, like real life problems. And if you're working on those areas, you're probably going to see those problems. You're probably going to see that side of themselves that they wish wasn't there. And you have an opportunity to love them through it a little bit. You can't heal them, but you can love them through facing it and not being afraid. And those are the ones I want to work with. Those are the working with you guys. You are, for me, the next evolution of how I get to be a helper. So yeah, I'm just, I guess, putting out my bat signal for the people who resonate with this part of life and want to deepen your understanding and have support while you face the parts of you that might be holding you back or telling you that you're not good enough, because we all have those parts. And just offering you the little bits of hope and little bits of mentorship or whatever, believing in you, knowing that you can do it and you're not alone, and maybe that sense of community, because we do feel like we're all alone sometimes, and having that sense of community of you're not the only one, and it's harder than it looks, and it's worth it. Have a great day. I hope I inspired some part of you today to be gentle with yourself and love yourself where you feel a little bit broken. Pour some love into the part that will go help you go from here to here. And I see you and I'm here for you. Have a beautiful day.